Good morning students. Today I will be teaching you chemical bonding, and particularly this video is intended to give you the concepts which are very important for your upcoming IIT exam. So in this video mostly I will discuss the hybridization tricks, the Vesper theory and MOT. So these are the things that I will discuss and the questions which came in IIT previous year. So previous year paper also I will discuss. So let's see. So what is bond? So bond is a force which holds two or more species like atoms, ions, etc. in a molecule, or it is the force which holds two or more atoms together in a molecule. So bond formation. So it is a force. It is a force which holds chemical species together. Chemical species. This species can be atoms, ions, etc. Atoms, ions, etc. together. Now, why bond formation is required? So, the main reason for bond formation is decrease in energy to attain stability. So, bond formation is an exothermic process. So, bond formation is an exothermic process. So whenever bond is formed, energy is released. So exothermic process enthalpy change is negative. So bond formation is an exothermic process. Bond formation is an exothermic process. Therefore bond dissociation or bond breaking or bond dissociation or bond dissociation is an endothermic process. Meaning that it will absorb energy. Endothermic process. So delta H will be positive here. So for exothermic reaction enthalpy change is negative, for endothermic enthalpy change is positive. Now suppose hydrogen atom is there in the gaseous state, two hydrogen atom combine to form hydrogen molecule, 1 mole. So during the formation of 1 mole of hydrogen molecule, 435.6 kilojoule per mole of energy first is released. So that means bond formation is an exothermic process. So H2 is a diatomic homoatomic molecule. So during the formation of H2, 435.6 kilojoule per mole energy, that means for every mole of hydrogen dihydrogen formed, excuse me, 435.6 kilojoule energy is released. Suppose if you want to break hydrogen molecule to form hydrogen atom, then you need to give energy 435.6 for every mole of dihydrogen molecule broken. So bond formation is exothermic, bond breaking or bond dissociation is endothermic process. Now let's see types of chemical bond. So there are lots of different types of bonds, namely ionic bond, also called electrovalent bond, covalent bond, coordinate bond, also coordinate bonds are also called dative bond. Fourth is metallic bonding. Fifth is hydrogen bonding. And sixth is van der Waals interaction. Van der Waals interaction. So let's discuss the concept behind ionic bond. So ionic bonds are formed by the transfer of electron from electropositive to electronegative. They are held together by Coulombic force of attraction. The common example of ionic compound is NaCl, KCl, rubidium chloride, cesium chloride, and cesium fluoride is regarded as the strongest ionic compound. Now covalent bond. Covalent bonds are formed by mutual sharing of electron between participating atoms. Like if you see hydrogen, they share to form single covalent bond. Oxygen, share to form double covalent bond, DCB. Similarly, nitrogen, it has 5 valence electron, so it shares with the other nitrogen atom to form triple covalent bond. So these are the electrons that are called lone pair, unshared pair or unbonded pair. Lone pair, unshared pair or unbonded pair. If you see HCl, Cl has 7 valence electron, so it shares to form octet, and these hydrogen form duets. So this is a single covalent bond with 3 lone pair on chlorine atom. So covalent bonds are formed by mutual sharing of electron between participating atom. If both the atoms are same, suppose in case of H2, then it is called non-polar covalent molecule. And if both the atoms are different and there is a polarity that is developed due to difference in electronegativity, then it is called polar covalent molecule or polar covalent bond. Coordinate bond. Coordinate bond is a special type of covalent bond in which the shared electron comes from one atom. Suppose ammonia reacts with H plus. So H plus has no electron, ammonia has a lone pair. So this lone pair is donated to form a coordinate bond. So this is a coordinate bond. So here nitrogen is acting as a donor atom and hydrogen is acting as a acceptor atom. So coordinate compounds are also called dative. Coordinate bonds are also called dative bonds, or it is also called donor acceptor bond. A coordinate bond is formed between Lewis acid and Lewis base, with Lewis base donating the lone pair of electron to form a coordinate bond. In nature, coordinate bond cannot be distinguished from covalent bond. Now metallic bonding. So if you see metals lose their valence electron to form the kernel or core and the n electrons. So there is an attractive force between the kernel and negatively charged electron, that is called metallic bonding. Hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are a special type of, you can say, dipole-dipole interaction where you have 3, that means 3 most electronegative element, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, and they are the smallest atom in the periodic table. So the condition for hydrogen bond is electronegativity should be high and size should be very small. So that's why chlorine don't form hydrogen bond. In general condition, chlorine does not form hydrogen bond. So you remember the trick FON, F-O-N, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen forms hydrogen bonding. Fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen forms hydrogen bonding. So van der Waal interactions are type of interaction which are weaker interaction, which I will discuss in gas law, which I already, you can watch a video of my channel, one short video of gas law, where you will find van der Waal interaction I have discussed, like dipole-dipole interaction, ion dipole interaction, etc. So these are the types of chemical bonds. Now slowly we will move to covalent types, sigma, pi, etc., and then VSEPR, valence bond theory, hybridization, etc. Now covalent bond. Formed by mutual sharing of electron. Formed by mutual sharing of electrons between participating atoms. You already have learned that hydrogen has single bond, O2 dioxygen has double bond, N2 dinitrogen has triple bond, and these molecules are homoatomic diatomic molecules. They are homoatomic. Homoatomic means made up of same atom, and diatomic means their atomicity is 2. So diatomic molecules. Since both the atoms are of same electronegativity, the dipole moment for these molecules are 0. The dipole moment for these molecules are 0, and they are regarded as non-polar molecule. So hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, not only these molecules, Cl2, Br2, F2, I2, even some molecules where you will find that there are difference in electronegativity, but despite that they are non-polar, like BF3, methane, benzene. So if you want to see for BF3, so if you see the structure, which I will discuss later on, so here the dipole of this is cancelled by this dipole, so ultimately the dipole moment is 0. So despite having polar bond, BF3 is non-polar. If you see HCl, So there is a difference in electronegativity, so it is dipole moment is not equal to 0, so it is a polar covalent. Similarly, Hi, CH3Cl, CH3, so these are the molecules which have dipoles, so they are regarded as polar covalent molecule. They are regarded as polar covalent molecule. Now you have to remember that a carbon-carbon single bond has sigma bond. Sigma bonds are strong bond. Sigma bonds are strong bond. So this is sigma bond. But a carbon-carbon double bond. A carbon-carbon double bond has one pi bond, one sigma bond. And a carbon-carbon triple bond. A carbon-carbon triple bond has two pi bond, one sigma bond. So you have to keep in mind that a sigma bond is a stronger bond. A sigma bond is a stronger bond which is formed by axial overlapping of orbitals, which are formed by axial overlapping of orbitals. So it is a strong bond. Why it is a strong bond? Because it is formed by axial overlapping. Axial overlapping. Next is a sigma bond is the first formed bond. After formation of sigma only pi bond will be formed. So pi bond is formed by lateral overlapping. Lateral overlapping. So it is a weak bond. It is a weak bond. So when a molecule has pi bond, that means its reactivity increases because it is actually the site where attack take place. So these are found, carbon-carbon single bonds are found in alkanes, carbon-carbon double bonds are found in alkenes, and carbon-carbon triple bonds are found in alkynes. Whereas alkenes and alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbon, alkanes are regarded as saturated hydrocarbon. The reactivity of alkanes are so less that they are called paraffins. They are called paraffins. So one trick I am giving you here, that if only single bonds are there, they are all sigma. All sigma. If a double bond comes, then a pi comes, and if a triple comes, then 2 pi comes. And one question of IIT was there, how many sigma and pi are there in calcium carbide? So let's see this question. So if you see calcium carbide, so carbide has this structure and this is calcium. So between calcium and C2 2 minus there is ionic interaction, so there are 2 pi 1 sigma. So this has been asked in IIT, so keep this in mind. So let's discuss what is VSEPR theory. VSEPR theory, VSEPR theory, valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. It was given by Sidgwick and Powell in 1940. So in a molecule, the central atom is surrounded by bond pairs. In a molecule, the central atom is surrounded by bond pairs as well as non-bonding electrons. They are also called lone pairs. They are also called lone pairs, and bond pairs are also written as BP, bond pairs. And so in a molecule, the central atom is surrounded by lone pairs as well as bond pairs, and the electron pairs repel each other. The electron pair repels each other, and they are arranged in such a way that they tries to minimize the repulsion. And when repulsion is minimized, the energy decreases and stability increases. This you have to keep in mind. And if you see the order of repulsion, lone pair repulsion is maximum, then lone pair, and least is bond pair repulsion. So you have to remember this. This has been asked in exam also. So maximum repulsion is between lone pair, then lone pair, and least is bond pair. Based on this, the shape of the molecule has been suggested. So I will give you how to solve VSEPR model based on this. So first we will discuss for molecules with no lone pair. So first we are going to discuss this. Suppose AB2 type molecule. So that can be arranged like this. So it is linear. So the arrangement of AB2 type molecule is linear. You can get this example: BeS2, beryllium hydride, beryllium chloride, HgCl2, ZnCl2, etc. Keep in mind that SnCl2 is not linear. This has been asked. SnCl2 is not linear, whether it is bent. Second is AB3 type. So it will be arranged like this. We call it trigonal planar. So the examples for this type are BF3, BCl3. Here the angle is 180 degree. Here the angle is 120 degree. Keep this in also mind. Next is AB4 type. So the arrangement of AB4 type is tetrahedral. The arrangement of AB4 type is tetrahedral. And the bond angle is 109 degree, 28 minute. Example is methane, silicon hydride, even ammonium ion, NH4 plus. These are the example of AB4 type. All these structures have no lone pair. Keep this in mind. Next is AB5 type. So in AB5 type, the shape is trigonal bipyramidal. So this is like this. Common example is PCl5, PF5, etc. Next is AB6. So AB6, the shape of this is octahedral, and most common example is SF6, sulfur hexafluoride. Next is AB7, which is a rare type of molecule. So the shape is here pentagonal, here it is octahedral. Keep this in mind. AB6 octahedral, AB5 trigonal bipyramidal, and for AB7 it is A, B, 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 B. So it is actually pentagonal bipyramidal. Pentagonal bipyramidal. One of the most important example in this category is IF7. IF7, iodine heptafluoride. Iodine heptafluoride. So these are the shape of the molecule where there are no lone pair. So AB2 type linear. Examples are BeH2, beryllium hydride, beryllium chloride, mercury chloride, zinc chloride, but SnCl2 is not linear. AB3 type trigonal planar. Example BF3, BCl3. AB4 is tetrahedral. So you can write tetrahedral here. And AB5 is trigonal bipyramidal. PCl5 is the most important example along with PF5. AB6 is octahedral and example is SF6. AB7 rare type, IF7 iodine heptafluoride, pentagonal bipyramidal. So these are the shape of the molecule based on Vesper model without having lone pair. Now we will discuss the shapes of molecules with lone pair. So how to decide the shape based on lone pair? Suppose AB2E type. So here you keep in mind that this E will give you the hint about the lone pair. So here lone pair is 1 and bond pairs are 2. Common example is SO2 and O3. They have bent shape. So you can see ozone structure. So this is bent. Similarly SO2 also you can see bent. So here one lone pair is there and 2 bond pairs are there. So AB2 type shape is bent. Keep this in mind. Next is AB3E type. So here lone pair is 1, bond pairs are 3. The common example is ammonia and the shape is pyramidal. So let's see the shape of ammonia. So these are looking like pyramid. Next is third is AB2E2 type. That means here lone pair is 2, lone pairs are 2 and bond pairs are also 2. Common example is the elixir of life, that is water. Okay, so here if you see it has also bent shape and 2 lone pairs are there on oxygen atom. So this is AB2 type, AB2E2 types. So AB2E type lone pair is 1, bond pairs are 2. Examples are SO2 and ozone, sulfur dioxide and ozone, their shapes are bent. AB3E type lone pair 1, bond pair 3. The common example is ammonia, which has pyramidal shape. AB2E2 type lone pair is 2, bond pairs are also 2. Common example is water, which is bent or V-shaped, you can say. Now let's see AB3X2 E2 type. The common example is ClF3. The shape is almost T-shaped. Here lone pairs are 2 in number, bond pairs are 3 in number. So if you see the structure, so it's almost like this. Understood? So this AB3E2 type has T-shaped. Next is AB4E2 type. So here lone pairs are 2 in number, bond pairs are 4 in number. One of the most common example is XeF4, xenon tetrafluoride. It is square planar. It is square planar. So let's see the structure. Xenon, fluorine, 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 and these are the 2 lone pairs. They are far apart to reduce the repulsion, reduce the energy and increase the stability. So this is square planar. Next is AB5E type. That means lone pair is 1 but bond pairs are 5 in number. Common example is BrF5. It is square pyramidal. It is square pyramidal. So if you want to see the shape of BrF5, Br, fluorine, 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 fluorine and 1 lone pair. So it is the type of AB5E2 type. Now coming to AB6E type. Here lone pair is 1, bond pairs are 6. Common example is XeF6, xenon hexafluoride. The shape is not octahedral. Here the shape is distorted octahedral. Distorted octahedral. Why distorted octahedral? Because due to presence of 1 lone pair. So if you see the structure, this is distorted octahedral. Due to presence of this lone pair, the shape changes and it becomes distorted octahedral. So this way you can find out the shape of the molecule in case of lone pair 0 and in case of lone pair not equal to 0. One question I am discussing which was asked in IIT. So let's see. The question is XeF2, XeF4, XeF6. You have to just figure out, this is 2002 IIT question, how many lone pairs are there. Very easy question. Let's see. So xenon has 8 valence electron. Out of 8, 2 is it uses to form bonds with fluorine, 2 single bond. So 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 in the form of pair will be 3 lone pair. And the shape of the molecule is linear. So if you want to see, it is linear. While deciding the shape, we neglect the lone pair. So actual it is trigonal bipyramidal, but these are neglected, so it gives linear. So lone pair is 3. Next is xenon has 8, 4 it forms, so 4, so 2 lone pair. Here also, here though it is already solved here, so here 1 lone pair. So this has been asked in IIT. So the number of lone pair in XeF2, XeF4 and XeF6 are 3, 2, 1 respectively. So this was asked in IIT. Let's see the next question. In which of the following species the interatomic bond angle is 109 degree 28 minute? This was also an IIT 2002 question. So just see, student. What you have to do, ammonia, it is sp3 but the bond angle is approximately 107. BF3, sp2, bond angle is 120. BF4 minus sp3, bond angle is 109 degree 28 minute. NH4 plus with no lone pair, sp3, bond angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. So based on this, now how you will solve? So this is ruled out because ammonia is there 107. This is ruled out, 120 is there. So these two are ruled out. Now coming to here, so this is also ruled out. So your answer is A. Your answer is ammonium ion boron tetrafluoride, and so these two are here where the bond angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. So keep this in mind and you will be able to solve this question. Let's see another example, another question. The pair of species having identical shapes for molecules of both species. So we have to find out the pair where both the species have same shape, means having identical shapes. So XCF2 is linear, as I have already discussed, and CO2 is also linear. Hybridization may differ, but both are same. Now BF3 is trigonal planar, PCl3 is pyramidal, PF5 is trigonal bipyramidal, and IF7 is IF7. So square pyramidal it is. And CF4 is tetrahedral, and SF6, as you know, it is distorted tetrahedral, also called seesaw. So in the first case, shapes of both the species are identical, that both are linear. So in the second, pyramidal trigonal planar cannot be same, square pyramidal bipyramidal trigonal bipyramidal not same, tetrahedral and seesaw, so not same. Here one lone pair is there in SF6, it has a structure like this. So it is also called distorted tetrahedral or seesaw or folded square. It is also called folded square or distorted tetrahedral or seesaw. Why seesaw? Because this will go up, then this will go down, then this will go up. If this goes down, this will go up. So that's why it is called seesaw. So this was asked in IIT 2003. Now let's understand valence bond theory. So valence bond theory was developed by Hitler in London. So bond is formed by using valence electron only. So how the bonds are formed? Only the valence electron participates in bond formation. A spherical orbital, like S orbital is a spherical, do not show any preference in direction. So because S orbitals are spherical, so they don't show any preference to direction, while non-spherical orbitals like P is dumbbell and D is double dumbbell, they do show preference in direction, so that they overlap to a maximum extent before forming the bond. So they non-spherical orbitals like P and D orbitals tends to form bonds in the direction of maximum overlap. More is the overlap, stronger is the bond formed. So axial overlap give rise to sigma bond, lateral overlap give rise to pi bond. Sigma bonds are the first bond formed, sigma bonds are stronger bond than pi bonds. So this you have to keep in mind, and the internuclear axis is Z axis. Internuclear axis is Z axis. So you have to keep this in mind. Ki SS overlap will give sigma bond, SP overlap will give sigma bond, but PX overlap will not give sigma, it will give pi. PY also will not give sigma, it will give pi. And PZ will give sigma bond, because the internuclear axis is Z axis. So this is valence bond theory. Valence bond theory could not explain the paramagnetic nature of oxygen, which was explained by molecular orbital theory. Now I will give you the trick to solve hybridization based question and then move to MOT. Now hybridization. The concept of hybridization was given by Pauling, Linus Pauling. Pauling was the recipient of 2 Nobel Prize, one for chemistry and one for peace. So hybridization is actually the mixing of atomic orbitals. Mixing of atomic orbitals to form hybrid orbitals. Atomic orbitals to form hybrid orbitals. The reason for hybridization being that it decreases the energy and increases the stability. Now there are various tricks, but few tricks I will give which will help you solve the questions. Like for organic compound, use the trick sp3 minus number of pi bond. And this formula is valid for carbon, oxygen and nitrogen. So hybrid status is sp3 minus number of pi bond. This you can watch in my other videos also, have used the trick. So if carbon compounds, all carbon are single bond, then sp3. If a double bond comes, sp2. If a triple bond is there, then sp. This, there is no violation, you can use it wherever you want. Like suppose carboxylic group is there in the molecule, so the carbon will be sp2. Similarly the oxygen will also be sp2. If nitriles are there, so it will be sp. Okay, so this way you can, if benzene ring is there, so it will be sp2. Based on that you can find out the hybridization of any organic molecule. So this was the first trick. Now moving to the next trick. Moving to the next trick, to total valence electron less than equal to 8 divide by 2. Divide by 2. So if you get hybrid state 4, that means it is sp3. If you get 3, then it is sp2, and if you get 2, then it is sp. This you have to keep in mind. Total valence electron less than equal to 8. If you divide a number 8 by 2, maximum you can get is 4. So that will be sp3. If it is 3, then sp2. If it is 2, then sp. You can find out like methane. Valence electron is 4 in carbon, hydrogen has 1. So there are 4 hydrogens, so 4, that makes it 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4, that is sp3. Ammonia. Nitrogen has 5 valence electron, hydrogen has 1, so 3 hydrogen makes it 3, so 8 divided by 2 is 4, sp3. Both are sp3. The difference is that the shape of methane is tetrahedral, and as you know ammonia has a lone pair over it, so the shape changes to pyramidal. So this way you can find out the hybridization of a given species if the total valence electron is less than 8 or equal to 8. But if the species is given where the number of total valence electron is more than, suppose it is more than 8 and ranges from, so total valence electron ranges from 9 to 56, use the formula divide by 8 and remainder by 2. Use this formula. So you can find out, like suppose C2H4, C2H2, PCl5, SF6, IF7. So let's see. Carbon has 4, so 4 to the 8. 8 plus 4 is makes it 12. 12 divided by 8 is 8 1 8. 4 is remainder. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 1 plus 2 3. 3 means sp2. So ethylene has sp2 hybridization. Coming to acetylene or ethine, 8 plus 2 10. So 10 divided by 8 will be 1 plus 2 remainder. 2 by 2 is 1. So it is 1 plus 1, that is 2. That means sp. Now coming to PCl5, phosphorus is 5 and chlorine is 7. 7 5 is 35. So 35 plus 5 is 40. 40 divided by 8 is 40 divided by 8 is nothing but 5. So it is sp3d, trigonal bipyramidal. Next is SF6, sulfur has 6, fluorine has 7. 7 6 is 42. 42 plus 6 is 48. 48 divided by 8 is 6. So it is sp3d2. Now coming to IF7, 7 plus 7 7 is 49, so it is 56. 56 divided by 8 is 7. sp3d3, rare type of hybridization. Shape. Now shape of ethylene is trigonal planar, shape of acetylene is linear. So here the shape is linear, here the shape is trigonal planar, and here the shape is trigonal bipyramidal. Here the shape is octahedral. Here the shape is pentagonal bipyramidal. So based on this trick you can easily solve any question, pentagonal bipyramidal. But you have to keep in mind that you have to know how many valence electrons are there, whether lone pairs are not there or there. So based on this you can figure out the shape of the molecule. Let's see molecular orbital theory. It was given by or developed by Hund and Mulliken in the year 1932. Molecular orbital, MO, are formed by combination of atomic orbital. Molecular orbitals are formed by combination of atomic orbital. You know what are atomic orbitals? They are the three-dimensional space around the nucleus where there is maximum probability of finding an electron. So when atomic orbital combines, molecular orbitals are formed. Number of molecular orbital formed is equal to number of atomic orbital combined. Number of molecular orbital formed is number equal to the number of atomic orbital formed. combined. Atomic orbital, if two atomic orbital combines, then two molecular orbitals are formed, and they are arranged like in bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital. So bonding molecular orbital energy is less and stability is more. So what happens when two atoms come near the atomic orbital combine, they form molecular orbital. So between the two nucleus, if the two electrons are with opposite spin, that is called bonding molecular orbital. Here it increases the stability of the molecule. So more number of electron in bonding molecular orbital makes the molecule more stable. Whereas if the two nucleus is there near to the two nucleus, if the electrons are not between the two nucleus, then it is anti-bonding molecular orbital. Energy is more, stability is less. Above principle, Hund's rule and Pauli exclusion principles are used for filling of electron in molecular orbital also. But for our knowledge, for here, not to complicate matters, we will use to solve questions based on total number of 20 electrons only. So I will give you the trick also how to find the bond order and how to relate that bond order with bond length also. Suppose hydrogen is there H2, so it is 2 electron. So it is sigma 1s2. So bond order is given by number of bonding electron minus number of anti-bonding electron by 2. So the number of bonding electron in hydrogen is 2 and number of anti-bonding 0. So 2 upon 2. 2 upon 2 is nothing but 1. That means hydrogen has a single bond. There are no unpaired electrons, so hydrogen is a diamagnetic species. So first done. Now similarly they ask for helium He2. So what you can do, you can take 4 electron because helium has 2 electrons, so 2 to the 4, sigma 1s2 sigma star 1s2. So that means the number of bonding electron is equal to number of anti-bonding electron, that is 2. So bond order is equal to 2 minus 2 by 2, that means 0 by 2, that means 0. So if the bond is not there, how the molecule will exist? So He2 does not exist because the bond order is 0. Suppose they ask you He2 minus, that means there are 5 electrons. So we can write sigma 1s2 sigma star 1s2 sigma 2s1. So bond order will be, number of bonding electron will be 2 and plus 1, 3, 3 minus 2 by 2, that is 0.5. That means it has a partial bond, and since one unpaired electron is there, so it is paramagnetic. It is paramagnetic. So this way you can solve question based on molecular orbital. I will give you the tough work molecules also, like oxygen. Now for O2, most important question is O2. So the paramagnetic nature of O2 was explained by molecular orbital theory. So it has 16 electrons. So we can write sigma 1s2 sigma star 1s2 sigma 2s2 sigma star 2s2 sigma 2pz2 pi 2px2 pi 2py2 pi star 2px1 according to Hund's first singly, pi star 2py1. So due to this unpaired electron, oxygen is paramagnetic. Due to this unpaired electron, oxygen is paramagnetic. And if you calculate the bond order, so bond order is equal to number of bonding electron minus number of anti-bonding electron by 2. So number of bonding electron 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 bonding electron minus 6 by 2, that is 4 by 2, it is 2. That means oxygen has a double bond. And due to presence of unpaired electron in anti-bonding molecular orbital, it is paramagnetic. So the paramagnetic nature of oxygen was explained by molecular orbital theory, but valence bond theory could not explain. And keep this in mind. Odd electron paramagnetic, but there are certain exceptions that I will tell you. So keep in mind that B2 having 10 electron, O2 having 16 electron, and S2 having 32 electrons are paramagnetic despite having even number of electron. Despite having even number of electron, keep this in mind. Now I am going to give you the trick of how to calculate bond order, and that is a definite question for your IIT. Not only IIT, for all other entrance exam like NEET, MSET, BITSET, etc. Now see the trick. The mountain formula, the famous 14, 3, 15, 2.5, 16, 2, 17, 1.5, 18, 1, 19, 0.5, 20, 0. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So this mountain formula is valid from 8 electrons to 20 electron. Keep in mind that 13 is also 2.5, 12 is also 2, 11 is 1.5, and 10 is 1, 9 is 0.5, and 8 is 0. So from 8 to 20 electron you have to keep this in mind. This trick will be. So let's see, these are total electrons. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 8, 9, 10, 11. These are the total electron and these are the bond order. These are the bond order. So keep this table in mind and you will be able to solve most of the questions. See, suppose O2 is there. So O2 has 16 electron. See from the table 16, how many, what is the bond order? 2. So the bond order of O2 is 2. N2 you see, N2 has how many? 7 to the 14, 14 electron you see, what is there? 3. That means the bond order of nitrogen is 3. So if you see oxygen, it has double bond, nitrogen has triple bond. Suppose if you are given some ionic species like O2 2 minus. So O2 has 16 and 2 minus makes it 18 electron. See in the table 18 electron is 1. So peroxide species has single bond. Similarly F2 has 18 electron. So it also has single bond. So isoelectronic species have equal bond order. Isoelectronic species has equal bond order. CO 6 plus 8 14. So it also has triple bond. Keep this in mind. Cn minus 6 plus 7 plus 1. For every negative charge you have to add 1 electron. So it makes it 14 electron. That also has triple bond. So based on this, keep this in mind, that bond order is directly proportional to bond energy, is directly proportional to bond dissociation energy, is inversely proportional to bond length, is inversely proportional to bond length. So bond order is directly proportional to bond energy, is directly proportional to bond dissociation energy, directly inversely proportional to bond length. So based on this, many questions has been asked in IIT. So keep this in mind. Suppose O2, O2 plus, O2 minus and O2 2 minus. So here 16 electrons are here, here 15, here 17 and here 18. So based on the table you can find out that the bond order of O2 will be 2, O2 plus will be 2.5. So here it is 2, it is 2.5. For 17 it is 1.5 and for 18 it is 1. So higher the bond order, smaller the bond length. So the bond length will be maximum for O2 2 minus, then O2 minus, then O2, and least will be for O2 plus. This is the bond length sequence in decreasing order, bond length sequence. So based on that, question has been asked in IIT. So I hope student you have understood this. I have tried to complete this chemical bonding in a very limited time interval because this is a lengthy chapter. So if you go through this video, you will be having no trouble at all solving questions of VSEPR, MOT and particularly hybridization. So I have discussed all the tricks. So do like and subscribe my channel for more such videos in future. Thank you student and all the best for your upcoming IIT exam.